All right, we are live right now, late at night as usual, for another video game Cinemax episode 292. And if you were, for some reason, still awake at this hour, I mean, if you're in, I guess, England or whatever, it's what, like 8 in the morning for you, so no big deal. But for us here, it's like 2 a.m., so it is what it is. But I'm here, Sean Gummer, as the host with the person that's always here with me, Mr. Marc Morrison. So this wasn't the biggest of news weeks, quite frankly. So
What are you talking about, man? We're just here to play.
Well, it was one of those state of plays that certainly was not, I would say, one of the highest quality. I mean, look, I am a person that loves indies, but there was some indies that were kind of like, that is really not for me, and whoever it is for, I hope you are very excited about that. But we'll get into that. There has been a big partnership, perhaps not what people thought when you're talking about, oh, Microsoft has some big partnership that they're going to announce. Maybe not what people thought, but I will say there has been rumors that Microsoft would be using their cloud technology for certain things. So we'll see how this, if at all, benefits really Microsoft in their favor, if this is just to help Sega out with things. But either way, it's very cool to see companies working like this, and we'll get into that later. As I don't know what is up with my camera today. So anyway, let's get into the gaming part of things, the thing where we actually talk about the games that we've been playing. I'm going to be honest, I have been playing a lot of FIFA because it's the only game that I can play while I'm working at the same time. Now, I have to go back to the office on Wednesday, was getting yelled at about the fact that I was still working from the house. They really didn't want us to be working from the house at all. But, when you have car trouble and you don't have a way to get to the office, can't really do much about it. But it seems that they want to shut down the system that we use to work from home, so people can't work from home anymore, even when you have problems. Basically make it to where the way it used to be before the pandemic. So kind of sucks. I'm going to miss it. Now I have to waste all this gas to go down there and do the same stupid thing, but whatever. Companies got to be companies and waste your time. But it is what it is.
At least you're saved from playing FIFA.
No, I mean, it's cool because I got them. I'm seriously almost through an entire season of a European football, having played so many games, because it's the only thing that I can play without sound. Because I tried to do it with the one game that I have played aside from that, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which I did get through about like half the game. There's like 17 chapters in that game. It's actually pretty hefty for a game that is what it is, that's very narrative focused, and it does have, all the gameplay and everything, but I was not expecting it to be 17 chapters long. Either way, I have gotten about to I would say the halfway point. And I definitely could not play that on silent because you need the sound of them talking and chattering to kind of give you visual cues as to what you're supposed to be like looking for when you're searching for things or solving a puzzle, or even when it's something like battle, because sometimes they'll be yelling at you like, hey, character's caught over here, go unfreeze me, or go help out with this other dude. That's because there's sometimes you'll get this big area and there's literally things blasting at you while you're trying to dodge around, and then there's your other guardian characters that are getting caught up in things, and you're also having to deal with their commands and all that stuff. So that's very much similar to what I felt like that boost thing entails of Arise, where you're just basically pressing a button and then pressing another button to figure whichever attack that you want to use at that point. and then dish it out and whatnot. There's a lot of Guardians is a combination of a lot of things, really. There's like some Mass Effect in there. There's Uncharted in there with the way it moves, the way it tells its story, where it's like literally you're going from one place, there's a cutscene, go to another place, there's a cutscene, then they talk. Oh, and they don't stop talking. They talk all the time. Literally, if you think that they're stopped talking, you might think that there's something wrong with your game because they talk constantly. And it's actually quite interesting, really. Like, this is probably one of the best parts of the game is how well thought out, like, IDOS is and IDOS Montreal is, and, like, all the dialogue really works with that scene, that part of the game that you're in. Like, they don't go and just talk about, sometimes they go and talk about, stuff that happened before if it's, like, very pertinent. But it's just crazy to me how much dialogue they put in this game. So it really feels like it's just the gang of buddies around you. And you feel like you're a much more cohesive unit by the time you get to where I am, where it's like you've gone through some stuff and they're mentioning that. And it's like, wow, they kind of nailed it on that end. And then there's little items that you can find that kind of fit each character that you can go into the Milano and then talk to that character more about it. So they really nailed that, like, kind of who the Guardians are and like getting to know more about them, which you don't really necessarily even get in the movies. Obviously they have more time to spend here and doing that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I really think that they hit well. This is not a perfect game. There's glitches, and I've run into some situations where for some reason the game just doesn't make this certain thing go that's supposed to like happen so I can move on to the next section. So then I have to go. Thankfully, it saves a lot. So then I have to go back to the previous, tell it to load the last checkpoint, and then run through that little part again to have it trigger whatever it is so I can go through that. There's also some Metroid Prime in here because Peter Quill has this like scanning thing that you turn on, and it looks almost like the thing with Metroid Prime where you have to find whatever it is. You hold down the button for it to scan, and then it scans and it tells you what it is. And then you either like tell Drax to go move something or Gamora to go slice something or whatever. And that's how you kind of solve puzzles. It almost kind of reminds me too of like Marvel Ultimate Alliance in a way as well, where sometimes you would have to be like, hey, bring Iceman over here so he can put an ice bridge so I can go on, and like, and then the way you level up their skills reminds me a lot of Marvel Ultimate Alliance as well, like with you gain certain things by what you do in battle, and then you use that to update their skills, which you're going to be able to upgrade everybody's skills to the whatever highest level it is.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about what you do first, or I just did it in order. Like I did Gamora's first. And then once she did hers, I just went around and did everybody's number 1 and then number 2 and then number 3. And then there's a story section to how you get their like best power up. So that one you'll have to wait. And there is actually like reasons why you want to have all of them. Like some of them are good against when you only have one enemy. And then some of them are good when you have a bunch of enemies. So you had to kind of pay attention to that as well. So I think there's a lot to like about this game. It's a lot to enjoy about this game. The music is great. The huddle thing is not so great as far as like it kind of gets stupid because they make it too obvious as to how like which one you're supposed to pick.
Yeah.
And then like the upgrade that you really get for it is kind of dumb. Like, okay, well, you get like 3 different or 3 chances to be able to use their abilities, and then the thing will run out. But the cool part is that it could be like the movie where you're fighting with a song in the background. And that's really what that thing is for. It's so you can fight with a 80s rock song in the background. So, and that's where you'll get the music from. You'll hear it in the Milano, and in the Peter flashback segments. So you'll get to pick the music when you're in those sections. But when you're in the huddle part, it like picks itself. So sometimes it'll be something you really want to hear. Sometimes it'll be like Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up playing while you're killing dudes. So there's that. You can either laugh or it can be the most annoying thing you don't really want to deal with while you're fighting for, 2 hours, for 20 minutes there or whatever. So yeah, and the battles are pretty fast and there's a lot going on. There's several times I had Peter die because you're constantly having to dodge while also commanding their attacks. And that's one of the things that was the most annoying thing to me. And I don't know if this is something I can go back in the options, and maybe it's because it does tell you at the beginning, do you want it to be a hold or a press to turn on Peter's abilities and the Guardian's abilities, right? So I picked press because sometimes when you do a hold with these controllers now, it doesn't register it. The problem is that Peter's stuff is with the left. You have to hit, so you have to hit the, I guess it'd be L1 for your PlayStation, LB for Xbox.
Yeah.
And then you have to hit the corresponding face button, right? So the problem is that Peter's is the left thumbstick. So a lot of times I'm moving him around and I accidentally click in the left thumbstick. And when his thing is up, you can't control the other Guardians. So then I have to unclick his to then be able to do theirs. And I could have been shot at like 3 times by the time I can unclick his thing to get it off my screen so he can move around again. And yeah, it happens constantly. Or for some reason, photo mode will trigger by itself. And I'm
I've had some games do that. I was like, please stop it.
I'm just like, I don't want photo mode right now. Like, get off. So, and it's like, it triggers at the worst possible time. So I'm just like, man, why right now? So I just don't, that's the one thing that I'm just like, man, I wish they would have figured this out. Now, I don't know if there's a way to turn that off or, make it to where that doesn't trigger, but man, is it annoying when that does happen, because it's like, dude, you're ruining the rhythm of what I'm going through right now. And then not only that, but it like takes you out of the moment because there could be an enemy right in your face and you have no idea. So that's my only issue. That's really my biggest issue, is that and some of the like glitches and other things. But I think for the most part, for it not being like your, the Guardians you're used to seeing if you watch the movies or anything, I think they handle them really well. And
isn't it all of them? Like, there's not like.
Well, I mean, okay, like really, Star-Lord is the one that you're going to notice, right? Because he doesn't look like Chris Pratt at all. He looks.
Oh, you mean how they didn't get the likenesses for the movie actors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, like, Gamora and Drax and Rocket and Groot. That doesn't. I mean, especially Groot and Rocket. Like, that doesn't really matter. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they did a really good job with Rocket's voice. He's not Bradley Cooper, but he's close, and I think all of them stand out. I still think Drax is funny, even if he's not Batista. So like they nailed that part well. I think it takes a while for you to kind of warm up to. I mean, for me, it didn't matter. Like, I already knew going in, okay, this is not going to be Chris Pratt Star-Lord, but I think he's still funny, and they still hit his character well. I mean, if you get over the way he looks, I think you'll kind of just deal with it. And learn to enjoy the other characters, and there's a lot of lore in here too. There's other Marvel stuff in there. There's some other allusions in there too to other Disney properties, so you can make of that what you will. But yeah, I mean, I have really enjoyed it, and I want to keep playing, so I'm going to be excited that I can now. That's one thing I can go get off work and just play this game and not have to be playing something else because I can't play this. But yeah, I definitely recommend if you are a big fan of Guardians at all. I think they've really nailed it with this, and you will not be disappointed with Guardians. I would say, I mean, if for some reason you're like strapped for cash, I'm sure that this being a Square Enix games, it won't take very long for them to do a sale. Perhaps Friday. maybe by Black Friday there's a little bit of sale there. So if you want to wait till then, but I definitely think, anybody that's doing some kind of game of the year thing, you might want to check this out because it's going to be in our conversation. I know it's going to be in several other people's conversations as well. So you have been playing some Far Cry 6.
Yeah, I already reviewed Far Cry 6.
I don't know if is that I guess bad that you reviewed Far Cry 6. Did you beat the game already? Or
hell no.
Okay,
I never will. That game, it is better than Far Cry 5, at least from my story perspective.
Well, that doesn't say much because you didn't really like Far Cry 5.
Yeah, that game has a fundamental issue. Has a lot of issues. Fundamentally, it's broken because they took out all the character. They took out all the character skills and upgrades.
Okay.
So there's no goddamn point to do anything. Your skills are basically tied to the clothing you wear, to like collectibles you find. But the game doesn't tell you what this stuff does beforehand, and it's terrible. It's like, okay, well, let's say you need to like, you're in like a battle with like a lot of explosions happening. So it's like, okay, equip gear that is resistant to explosions. It's like, well, what if I don't have that gear? Or what if I only have like one piece of it? And the game doesn't tell you like, oh, this set has this type of proc on it or this type of protection. It doesn't tell you anything. It's just kind of randomized, it seems. So that's awful.
Yeah, that's really messed up.
The only thing you get, like when you let's say you like take over a base or something. I mean, you get the base obviously, but you fills up this like meter for like your rank in the Libertad. That's like the guerrilla army, and it's like, okay, you get another rank. It's like, okay, you can buy a few more things at the shop, and that's it. And it's like, who cares? The island you're on is split into three basically three distinct zones. Yeah. After doing one of them, I have out leveled the game in that like guerrilla thing. Because it's like, once I beat the one area, it's like, oh, the military is going to get stronger in the other two zones, and it's like, one area went from like rank 4 to 6, and I'm like, I'm rank 9. Like, who cares? The first thing I did when I got the game, like when I got to like the main area, is I googled like best weapons in the game. And I got those because most of them are pretty easy to get, and so combat's pretty much a joke. Yeah, it is like bizarre. Like they have like stripped out the reason to do anything in the game. I do like there are like military checkpoints and anti-air like cannons to like blow up. I do those because I don't want to be hassled in the game by like military checkpoints or not being able to use a helicopter. But those take 5 minutes, if that. Yeah. Like you just I got like a cat, a puma that like can take down enemies and then they burst into flames. Like they don't leave ashes, they don't leave a body. So it's like, this is bizarre to begin with, and they're all they're all cookie cutter. Like, the military checkpoint always has like 4 or 5 enemies on it, and that's it.
Right, yeah, like the outposts.
Yeah, you kill the enemies, you blow up the billboard, and that's it. The story's not bad. It's just completely like meaningless. Like you barely see Giancarlo Esposito. I mean, he's in like scenes with like his son. It's like you're not interacting with him.
Well, yeah, but his son is like one of the. He eventually joins your movement or whatever, right? So.
No, because I read spoilers and no.
Okay.
It's such a bizarre game. Like for every like 2 steps they took forward, they took like 1.5 back. So it's like you're kind of inching better, but you're not doing great. It is nice that you actually have an actual character now again. Like,
yeah,
I picked the female version this time. They should just do it. Ubisoft is the one that's fucking around with this stuff about like you can pick a male or female, and it never works for them because you can tell they always have an idea in mind about what you should play as.
Right.
It's like the default, and it's just like just make that the goddamn default. Stop screwing around.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the whole like, well, I don't want to be made to play as a woman in the game or a man in the game or whatever, So it's like, okay, well,
for like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they clearly meant you to play as the woman.
Right.
It's like, okay, just make that the default. And like for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I picked the guy because that was like the first one they had me play as. I guess this was the default, but apparently it wasn't. Not according to them. But it's like, okay, then the woman should have been the default, or the
right. But the male character for Ivor was the one that kept showing in all the the trailers and everything. And like this is the same thing that they kept showing the female Danny in all of the stuff leading up to the release of the game. Far Cry 6,
when you pick a character, I think like the default is the female selection. So that's just what I went with. Right. There's no manual saving, which kind of ticks me off. I mean, what do you want to know? Because I wrote. Good luck with my review. I wrote a really long review on this game.
I'm used to it by now with you.
Well, I mean, like, it's like 3,000 words.
Oh my god, why?
I sent it to Jens, and he was laughing, but he called it my best work. Cause the game is like, it's not anger-inducing like Far Cry 5. Mm-hmm. It is more like just bewildering, and it left me feeling incredibly apathetic or just bored. And if you want to talk about bugs, like holy shit, this game, it never like crashed to the PS5 menu, but like it is not great with certain things.
Well, what would a Ubisoft game be without some bugs? I mean, that's just pretty typical Ubisoft to have bugs,
right?
In their games, so that doesn't surprise me.
It's just also like they have. I mean, I guess like the last Far Cry game was Far Cry New Dawn. I wasn't like a huge fan of that one. Like the story was again bad. But it had like a gear level system where it's like the almost the regular like blue, purple, gold, like that type of loot color system. Mm-hmm. This game ditches that kind of like it just gives you like a ranking. So it's like, oh, you're gonna rank 1 and like rank 4 is the best. But like enemies in New Dawn also had a level with like as well. So it's like, a white common gun could not take out a gold soldier. It just like would not work. This game, your weapons have levels, enemies don't. So you could like from like a rank, you could be like the first rank and then just take over like a level 8 base, like no problem if you're careful enough.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that kind of typical Far Cry? You don't have to necessarily be a certain level to be able to take out.
No, well, I guess New Dawn did change it, but it's like, okay, if you don't want to have levels, why do the guns still have ranks? Or like
That's true.
It's kind of implicit that like the further along you go in the menu, the more powerful a gun is supposed to be. It does the same thing, but it's like, why do you have this rank at all then? You can
I
mod
agree
guns.
there.
Yeah, you can mod guns to have like a whole bunch of screwy bullets, and it's just like, oh, this gun can fire blast rounds or poison rounds. It's like none of it. It's not needed. You only need blast rounds to like take out helicopters. That's about it. Like everything else is like a cakewalk.
Well, that's kind of sad to hear that you are not a big fan of the game.
It's not bad,
Right.
but it is fundamentally boring. And like Watch Dogs Legion had the problem of like having no story, like no character essentially. I mean, that was like the biggest problem. This game, you have a character, and she's kind of interesting, but like it's just so cookie cutter around her. Like every character you meet is like a stereotype.
Right.
Like, you would probably be pissed at this game because of some of the Latin stereotypes.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I expected. I didn't think that they would do anything so crazy with whether it's a stereotype or not. I mean, I'm just glad that there's representation in the game.
Yeah.
So that's a plus for me that they went there and did sort of a, it's Cuba without saying it's Cuba kind of thing.
This is how this is near the end of my review. I'll read this verbatim. Far Cry 5 leaves me feeling indifferent. You can waste 10 minutes playing Far Cry 6. You can waste 10 minutes playing Far Cry 6 or 10 months playing it, and nothing will have changed. Games like the Stanley Parable, Bioshock, and Braid, to name but a few, may hint at some deeper philosophical underpinnings, but Far Cry 6 gets to the real meat of the topic, and will make you question your own place in the universe.
Oh my God. Wow. You went deep for that one.
Yeah, above that, I also say this is like slightly earlier, but I said, I've spent 2,500 words tearing apart Far Cry 6. It's not an excellent, great, or even good game. It merely exists. I only really know two things. I exist, and so does Far Cry 6.
I know I exist, and so does Far Cry 6. Well, there you go.
It is really like, for me, it's like almost untackleable in a sense, because it's just so bewildering that like they have this like loot system, or that like you have no reason. Like it's like, oh, you can still like hijack trucks or to like drive back to your home base, or and it's like, who cares? Like it does not factor in one iota in the game.
They just wanted to have that stuff in there, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just so like meaningless. It's like, oh, you get 50 metal, or I get 75 medicine. And it's like, you only use that crap to build like base upgrades, kind of, and that system is so limited that who cares? The last mission I just did, and I'm not even kidding when I say this, because I've read a few other reviews about this game, and none of them mentioned this. I joined up with Danny Trejo, who voices himself in the game,
right,
to protect him as he cooks tacos that are like apparently so delicious. This army colonel is like trying to like steal the tacos away and sending his army men to like come kill you and Trejo to get the tacos and the secret ingredients. And it is like, it's like the weirdest. It's like almost a turn into Saints Row.
Oh my God! Wow. I mean, Danny Trejo does like to cook, so that one doesn't surprise me. But still,
don't get me wrong. I like Danny Trejo as an actor, and he seems like a decent enough guy. I have to imagine he did this as like a joke. Or
he's just looking at it as, okay, well, I got paid, so I don't care. You do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So,
but like, it's like just bizarre because like Far Cry, most Ubisoft games are very self-serious,
right?
And it's like this mission is just baffling.
Well, that's fine. You can have a little bit of.
It was kind of funny, but it's like oh, you're just like locked in this life and death struggle with, the army, and it's like, oh, I have to get Danny Trejo's pineapples and then help him fight off the army.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You got to have a little bit. I mean, as a Latino myself, you got to have a little bit of levity in there.
Yeah,
sometimes that's fine. I mean, technically, they did show. I mean, one of the first trailers they showed that jokey segment with the guy at the bar, that like older guy.
Yeah.
With the crocodile that goes after him.
Yep, that's like the second mission you do actually in the game. Yeah. Nothing like I said though, like nothing is like, it's not like anger inducing, or it's not like terrible. It's just completely mediocre. Or it's like, oh, you have to, one of the other like repeatable missions is like, oh, there's an air supply drop. You have to like rush over to like where they're dropping it within like 3 or 4 minutes and fight off the soldiers who are coming to take it, and then you can take it for yourself. And it's like, okay, I did that like 3 times, and there's 40 more of them to do, and it's like, no, I'm good.
Yep, not doing that. Don't want to do that. No, thank you.
Yeah. It's also a shame because I actually end my review saying this way, because I looked up my old Far Cry 5 review. I gave that a 6 out of 10, and I say that was too generous. If I was going to rescore it now, it would have got a 3.
Wow. Well, there you go. You'll be able to check out Marc's review on the website there.
Yeah.
Pretty soon here.
It's funny because you gave me the game like last Monday.
Yeah. You got it done really quick.
Well, I didn't finish it because I still I have like 2 other sections of the island to do. I finished one of them, and it's like, go do the other 2, and I'm just like, why? I already had the mission.
There's no story in the other 2?
No, there is. It's the same thing though. It's like, oh, go help. The first one is like, go help these farmers in the West, take back their land. In the middle section, it's go help this awful music duo, like spark a revolution, or make their music come into the masses, and that'll somehow create an uprising. And I started doing that one, but it's like these 2 characters are abhorrent, and like I want nothing to do with them. and I haven't even seen the last guy. I think the last guy's like this old like army hippie or something. So it's like, ugh. But
so it did not jive with you at all there,
right?
So.
Well, it's funny because like the game has basically the prepper stashes from Far Cry 5. Like it's like, oh, it's like a puzzle area where you have to like figure out how to get to like the locked room, or figure out how to like break open the chest or something like that.
Right.
But in Far Cry 5, you got like skill points, or you got something like tangible. This game, you get like a piece of clothing, and it's like that. Okay, but
yeah,
it's the other baffling thing about this clothing system, and they ran this into your head, at least initially, is like, oh, you need the right tool for the right job. Like you're supposed to like, I think they want you to keep swapping shit out constantly, but the inventory is so bad that it's like, no, why would you ever do that unless you like really need to? There have been like 2 missions where it's like I needed to build up like fire resistance gear, or like resistance to explosions, and that was it. Most of the time I keep like the stealth clothing on, or like a mishmash of parts.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has this harebrained scheme where it's like you can equip, like it has like armor sets. Like if you get like the prisoner clothing set for all 5 of your body parts, it's like you've completed the set, but it doesn't do anything. It's not like you get like some extra perk or something. It's just like you completed the set, and I'm like, great. Who cares?
Some people do.
No, they don't, because it's still it's still a first person game.
Right.
Although it's funny because when you go into like your own military, like where you're like a resistance camp, you go into third person, and oh man, I kind of wish the game was a third person. Like, it's better to kill enemies in first person, but like driving in the game is terrible in first person.
Okay.
Especially like tanks and shit like that, because they're so big that and you have such like a limited viewpoint that you just can't see what you're really doing.
Yeah, which is why Halo and other games do tank in the third person.
Yeah, it's like I know. I think earlier Far Cry games they kind of got away with it better because like there were kind of more open spaces. Like this game is open, but like the roads are pretty almost like linear. You can't really go off like the beaten path of like a car.
Yeah, there's not like a room, the places to go like explore or whatever.
Right. So yeah, it's bewildering. Look, that should be the subtitle is Far Cry 6. Who cares?
I will probably go with the bewildering that you keep mentioning.
That said, I am kind of glad I played it just because it finally nailed the Far Cry coffin for me. I think there's like
I don't want to play that again.
There's like a season pass DLC we can play as like the villains or like the
that actually games. Might be good, yeah. And then isn't there another like Far Cry, and then they added Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon again.
That's the one Far Cry game I haven't really played, and I have no intention to.
All right.
I think I tried to play it, but like I really hated the color scheme. So I was like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I remember you saying you didn't like it that much.
Yeah. I also picked up Deathloop, but I haven't played much of it. I played like 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, there they go. We'll have more to talk about it for next week for Deathloop at least.
Yeah.
I've heard some people really, really like that game, and some people just do not. So, for the most part, there was a lot more praise.
I was kind of surprised about that, and the voice acting not voice acting, but like some of the lines are pretty bad. But hopefully that gets gets better with the more you play.
Well, things that don't always age well. Talking about those PS Plus and games for gold. Especially games for gold. Usually they do not.
PS Plus is okay, actually.
Yeah. And games for gold's fine. This week, Moving Out is actually a pretty good game that you're getting. You can go get right now. That's your Xbox One game for this month. And then Kingdom 2 Crowns, which is... And you can go get that as well in the middle of the month. And then Rocket Knight is your Xbox 360 game. And Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes is a Lego game. So, make of it what you will there for Xbox games for gold. But definitely go check out Moving Out. Same people that make the Overcooked games. It's not, I don't feel like it was as fun as Overcooked. It's a lot more wild. But I think you could definitely have some enjoyable moments there. PlayStation Plus, of course, we already know one of them, due to the State of Play reveal, was going to be the First Class Trouble game, which is a social deduction party game for 6 players. So you're either going to be the residents or the personoids, and you're on a luxury space cruiser, and you're kind of, if you're the residents, you're working down to shut down the artificial intelligence of the personoids there. So it's nice that Sony keeps doing this, where they have these multiplayer games and they add them into PS Plus. Gives them a lot more ways for people to play them. Now, Knockout City was already been on Game Pass for a while, and of course, it's part of the EA Play thing there. So now it's going to be as part of PlayStation Plus. That's a good thing for Knockout City. Another way to keep being in people's like purview and being able to make it easy for them to play. It was even free on Switch for like that first week for a while. So they have really nailed that concept of get people to play it, and then eventually you'll have to buy it. And then, hey, once you play it, you decide if you want to keep playing it or not. But it is a pretty fun game. I've enjoyed Knockout City for what it was. And it almost plays like a fighting game, really. So you should go check it out if you can on the PlayStation Plus when it gets there. It'll be on PS4 and PS5. And Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, which is really just a remaster of Kingdoms of Amalur. Kingdoms of Amalur is already a pretty great game. So now you can get it on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, I'll give that a shot probably.
Yeah, I will too, because I had it for PC and my laptop is just, it doesn't like playing video games.
I had it for PC also, but I got I played fine on my PC, but it just kind of eventually bored me because it's just kind of the same quests over and over.
It's obviously still stuck in that time period, so nothing was made better by it or anything. It was just it's the game looking a little bit better. So
right.
But yeah, that's your Xbox Gold and PS Plus. Also, PS Now for November is Final Fantasy 9, which Final Fantasy 9 being my favorite Final Fantasy. Always going to say, go play that game. Celeste, definitely go play that game. If for some reason you haven't by now, Mafia Definitive Edition is going to be on there, and totally reliable delivery service is going to be on there. That's from the beginning in November 2nd. And supposedly Grand Theft Auto 3, part of the Definitive Edition, is going to be on there eventually as well on the 11th. So looking at the Game Pass titles that we know of right now, Minecraft is going to go up there for PC with the Java and Bedrock editions. Unpacking, which is a ID at Xbox game, is available right now if you want to go get it. It's a game about unpacking, and you'll learn about the character as you go through various stages of life, basically, while you play Unpacking. It's definitely a game I'm going to go check out during this week. It Takes Two is going to show up on all 3 versions of Game Pass. I just wish I had somebody to play it with, because I really wanted to play this game. Randy reviewed it while he was still doing stuff for the site, and he really enjoyed it. I know you played it with Jens, Marc. So
yep.
Definitely one. If you have someone to play it with, it doesn't have to be a significant other. It could be your friend or partner, whatever. Go play it with them as well. Kill It With Fire is coming to all 3. It's the first person action game about killing spiders. So you have that. Football Manager 2022 is coming to all versions there. If you love your Football Manager, you get the newest version right there, day one. So that's pretty awesome. If you love your Football Manager, I will definitely go check it out, because obviously I have a soccer show. I talk about playing FIFA, so why not? And then of course Forza Horizon 5 coming on November 9th. That's the game everybody's waiting for. I know you are excited to check it out.
If I could, I would, but I know my computer could not handle that game at least well.
Yeah, that game looks incredible. Awesome.
Horizon 4 struggled enough, so Horizon. I could probably bump it down quite a bit graphically, but
but by then you're not really enjoying what they want you to enjoy of it, which is part of that's the graphics.
Maybe they should bring Forza Horizon to the PS5.
And of course, the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas Definitive Edition comes for consoles, and One Step from Eden is also going to be there for console and PC as well. So that's all your stuff that's coming at the beginning of the month for Game Pass, PS Now, PS Plus, and Games for Gold already out there. And it's nice that we're talking about actually at the beginning of the month, not like a week after the fact as well. So something we talked about last week, just to go on a little bit about it, because there has been more stuff brought up about it from Reset Era that Warner Brothers Multiverses game, which is the Smash clone that Warner Brothers is supposedly working on. They've shown off some different gameplay in these tests that they've been doing. So another character, Jake the dog from Adventure Time, is apparently going to be in this cast of characters. They also showed off some gameplay with Gandalf and Wonder Woman teaming up against Jake the dog, and a fourth character, which is apparently an original character that they couldn't figure out who it was. They've also shown Garnet from Steven Universe and Arya from Game of Thrones. Man, if like seriously, talk about combining your different IPs that you have. It's incredible.
Well, again, that was Lego Dimensions.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like one thing to then jumping into like including Game of Thrones with DC with this. Like, I mean, they definitely have the roster for it, but man, that's nuts, really.
It's funny because I didn't see it. I don't think you did either. Did you see that new Space Jam movie?
I did, yes, I saw it.
Isn't the whole point of that movie like the multiverse is bad?
Yes, I mean, like they have. Well, that's because the main bad guy is like an electronic like overlord that he wants to take LeBron and make his digital universe better than the real one or whatever. So yes, pretty much it's like that.
Zuckerberg.
And that's what's funny is like apparently Jeff Grubb is saying that Multiverse is going to be free to play. And they're going to sell characters as DLC, like, I guess WWE does with their games. And we've seen other fighting games do this. So even LeBron James could be brought in as a character later on to kind of tie in with the Space Jam thing that you mentioned there. So it's already crazy to...
I really hope it is just going to be like Lego Dimensions. So it's like you can have like the ninth version of the Doctor versus like Sophia Petrillo from Golden Girls.
If they go that deep, that means this game has done really well.
If they go that deep, I'll start playing it.
I mean, it's free to play. Who knows? I'll check it out. I like Smash for here and there for what it is. So but it's cool that we continue to get more things on this, and things just get crazier and crazier as time goes on with it. I'm sure there'll be more leaks of stuff leading up to whenever they officially unveil this. Who knows when that will be.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So there's kind of been two, I guess you could call it major things really this week. Some of the other stuff is from, week before, but one of them is the thing I mentioned. SEGA announced that they have agreed to a strategic alliance with Microsoft. I guess you could see it as similar to the things Sony have as well, right? Where they're using the Azure Cloud tech for things. SEGA is going to be using it to make large-scale global games using next-gen consoles and PCs, and this will allow them to keep moving forward with this super game. It's a new initiative they have for developing titles that focus on pillars of global online community and IP utilization. That's a lot of marketing mumbo jumbo there.
And it's all going to be used for Sonic Adventure 3.
But basically, seems like they want to go into sort of like the online gaming arena. I don't blame them. You can make a lot of money that way. And we saw them bring back Phantasy Star 2 to kind of go into the MMO thing. I mean, what do you think, Mark? I mean, that's usually not our type of thing here when you talk about
I mean
online and all that stuff. But
yeah, I mean, it's a partnership, but I'm just not sure how much it'll prove dividends. Because like they're on like Fantasy Star Online too. Like that could have been great, but like they just kind of ruined it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot that they have to still show with this.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Microsoft has been getting better and better with the Game Pass cloud thing. They've now added the Series X tech with that in there. That's now been, you can actually use it. I can use it on my Series X right now. I have not tried it to see how it works, but I've already used it with my PC and I've used it with my phone. And I mean, you can obviously tell when it's loading. You'll see this thing come on the screen. It doesn't look pretty, but then it'll go back and look fine. So, I mean, but that's also me having pretty decent internet. And even when I go to my girlfriend's, only has like 25 megs down, and I don't really know how much that would really be streaming. I think it's only like 10 with Comcast. But either way, I mean, it still works sort of fine. So,
yeah.
I think you're not streaming in 4K. So you're not really doing that heavy load that you'd be doing if you wanted to do that. But still, I think it works fine. Let's see what Sega does with this. It's a big announcement. It's a PR thing. It's a marketing thing. I don't really know what it means right now.
It'll be all the more funny in 2 months when Sony buys Sega.
Let's hope we don't get to that part. But I'm fine with Sony buying these smaller studios and doing things with them. That's cool. It gives them money. It gives them support that they know they're going to be fine for a while. Like, I don't really want to see anybody buying big companies. We don't need any more of them to go down at this point. I mean, obviously it'd be cool because go ahead.
You don't think the 3S company, Sony, Square, Sega, has a good name to it?
No. We'll get into Square in a little bit here, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to really say there. I mean, Microsoft is smart. They have developed this cloud technology, and though Amazon basically rules the world with their thing, they have been making strides in other ways, not just for themselves, but for making these partnerships with companies, and this is another one of those, and that's good for them to make money in another way.
Yeah.
Speaking of making money another way, Marvel just keeps on with these games. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. You got Avengers. Maybe that's not necessarily the best thing, but it's fine, I guess. Amy Hennig, of course, you know her from having worked on the Uncharted series, and so Skydance Media or Skydance New Media is going to be partnering with Marvel for their first game. It's going to be an original story. I don't know if it's going to involve a certain character or not, but I mean, that's cool, right?
It'll be like a Luke Cage game.
That would be interesting.
No, I imagine it'll be like Spider-Man and Wolverine are off the table as far as this stuff goes.
Obviously, yeah.
So I guess it'll be interesting to see like who's the next biggest character, character she would like want to tackle.
Well, I mean, it seems like the Avengers are out of it, the Guardians are out of it, so you're going to have to definitely find one character.
I don't think it'll be an open world game. I think she does like linear story based games. So
more like Guardians.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I love that game. I'm really enjoying that game. So if Amy Hennig gets to make a Marvel Uncharted, go for it. Marvel could use a big game like that, aside from Spider-Man.
And eventually Wolverine.
Eventually Wolverine.
But I'm just kind of curious about like which character or which team would you want to tackle? Because I doubt X-Men would be it. those are probably pretty off.
No,
Table still.
I definitely think they wouldn't. I think X-Men wouldn't be either. I mean, like that's the thing is like, would they let her touch the Avengers since that's is this how much of that the Square Enix
Yeah.
have? Did they get to? I just it's like you're at a crossroads right now with Marvel where they're starting to kind of start again.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen Shang-Chi, even though that's supposed to be really, really good. Eternals comes out in a few
Shang-Chi's all right.
days.
Yeah. I've heard.
So
I've read the reviews for Eternals. That sounds less good, but I thought I go still see it.
I mean, I didn't expect it to be good. I mean, it was going to always be difficult to make an Eternals movie. I mean, they're not really relatable characters. So.
It's like if you think Guardians is C tier, like Eternals are like D tier. Like
no, but at least James Gunn made Guardians like A tier, right? Like,
well, yeah, he did, but like that's like they announced they're making a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. People are like, what the hell? Like,
yeah,
for them,
you didn't expect that at all,
right?
So,
yeah, I guess I like her. I like her. She has a coworker, or not a coworker, but like a co-writer named Todd Stashwick, who I like a lot more. But because he's an actor I like. But
right,
yeah, we'll see. Because he was the one also. They were going to do that not Mandalorian, but that like Boba Fett game or whatever the hell.
Oh yeah, the Star Wars 1313.
Yeah.
And that got canceled, obviously.
Yep, which is funny now that she's working again for Disney.
Yes, very interesting on that point. I mean, a game that didn't go through the delay process and now is going through it a lot. It feels like Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, this game still exists, people.
Kind of.
Begrudgingly. All this time I see it on sale for like $10. And apparently, this year they were supposed to launch the PS5 version and Xbox Series version, and then that got delayed. And then now updates and improvements of free DLC will now be delayed to 2022 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people just saying basically kind of cut bait and run. And the longer this drags out, the more I see the logic to that viewpoint.
I mean, I don't blame anybody for getting it for $10.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, I think in that way it's worth it. You're not really losing much there if you want to go buy that and play it. And it's still outside of the bugs and everything, it's still the game you guys enjoyed, right? So
I think I liked it the most, but I didn't finish it, and eventually the bugs just kind of stopped me from playing it.
Right.
So yeah, I think like I haven't played that game in a while. I think if I fired it up right now, like the bugs would still be there that I have. So it's like
even after all the updates. Yeah, I mean they're still doing updates to that game and everything else. So
those are delayed till next year also.
Yeah. I
mean, they should bring out a PS5 and like a current console version, I guess. I mean, but probably The Witcher is way more lauded, or people want that more. So
right.
I imagine probably focusing a little more on that as well.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how much more until that does come out. People are really gonna care. It's just gonna be one of those. It's there, and
yeah,
I guess you should still talk about it, but
people aren't clamoring for more DLC or more Cyberpunk 2078 or anything like that.
Yeah, they're not. So, I mean, that's the thing. Is like I think people are just kind of moving on from that game, and it is what it is.
that's the thing is like kind of. I mean, aside from the issues, it kind of came and went. I mean, that was my point. Is like, yeah, people aren't. It's not like fondly remembered, or there's not like a huge fan base. Like,
well, yeah, because what's remembered about it is how big of a train wreck it is.
yeah,
And like how everybody now is just, oh, I'm gonna delay my game so that you don't have this problem.
They don't screw it up.
Yeah, like I don't want to be remembered as the next Cyberpunk. Oh, well, I made my game come out, and then it bombed, and oh boy, so yeah, not great for Cyberpunk there. But Ubisoft, we talked about them when we talked about the Far Cry 6. Of course, they made a big announcement with one of their core franchises in Assassin's Creed, and making Assassin's Creed, in Infinity, and saying, oh, well, this might be free to play. Like, it might be this big thing that we just keep iterating on. And apparently it is not going to be free to play, according to Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot. It's going to be a game that you have to buy. It will have a lot of narrative elements to it. It's going to be very innovative, and it's going to have all the stuff that you're used to playing in Assassin's Creed games from the beginning. I mean, that's a lot of talk, right? We've seen how these service games go. You say that you're going to have all this stuff at the beginning, and then what ends up happening, Mark? A lot of things get cut.
Yeah.
So, as the Assassin's Creed person here, how are you feeling?
It's probably good. Like, if this isn't going to be some free-to-play nonsense, I probably wouldn't care. I mean, if it's going to cost money, they're probably going to have to invest like actual resources and effort into making it.
Yeah.
But I don't need the game to like last forever. Like.
I mean, that's the thing with.
Yeah. Well, they want all their games to be service games. And I say, I don't want that. Or, like at some point, Far Cry 6 will end. I will have taken over every base, even though it won't matter, or I will have killed every person. But, if the game just says like, okay, keep going. It's like, no, I'm okay. Like,
right, yeah, like, don't need that.
Yeah. So yeah, like, I don't know. I guess I don't see the problem with like their current system now to an extent, like with Assassin's Creed. Like, I actually like the length of the last one quite a bit.
It was really long, though.
It was, but not as long as some of the other ones.
I mean, I saw some people saying it took them like over 100 hours to beat that game.
If you want to do everything, yes. But to actually just beat the game, it takes about 60, or maybe even less, depending on how much stuff you really want to do. But like I said, like for Odyssey, like the map is broken up into 32 sections. I didn't visit at least 14 of them by the time I finished, the main story. And I'd say that's a problem.
I mean, I think that's the major thing people want, is they don't really want to have to play the game for 60 hours. I mean, the original Assassin's Creed games used to be shorter, right?
Like 20 or 30. I mean, I'd say 30 if you're really going for everything. But yeah, I'd say like less than 20, really. But
that's the thing, is I would go with that.
Sure,
it be shorter?
Ever since Origins, when they went to like the RPG route, they just been getting like exponentially bigger, and it's like, no, like I don't need to spend 100 hours playing this game,
Yeah. But that's what they want you to do, though.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. So it doesn't, they should be catering to the customer, not trying to force the customer to cater to their own insane whims.
The thing is, there's going to be people that will be like, yes, well, I'm getting my money's worth because I played 200 hours of this, so it was really worth $60 or $70.
Yeah.
Which, isn't really true. It's
I mean,
not really about that, but yeah.
There's well, I hate the like dollars to hours ratio.
Right.
Because it's like if that's all you care about, just play WoW or play some MMO. That'll
Yeah,
last you
exactly.
forever.
Go play some game that takes forever to beat because
Or no,
that's
play a game that you can't beat. I mean, you can't beat
yeah.
WoW.
Or Final Fantasy 14 or
Yeah.
all that. That keeps having expansions.
Right. But yeah, those games don't need to last forever. And the same thing with like Halo Infinite. Like that game, like the multiplayer will go on forever, but not like the story.
Yeah, the campaign wins, so you can just and they'll keep iterating on the multiplayer, like you said. But
yeah,
campaign won. Well, but that's the trend right now. Is especially with Ubisoft, like let's find a way we can make money continually over time with all of our games. And that's working for them right now.
So right.
Why not keep doing it until it doesn't work for you no more? Speaking of things that no longer work, Activision Blizzard is having, their issues with the lawsuits and everything else. And even though they did release Diablo 2 Resurrected, man, a lot of their other stuff, people just don't have this aptitude for right now outside of Call of Duty, which releases in a couple of days. So, kind of makes sense with everything going on that Blizzard doesn't really need to be having BlizzCon. And it's been canceled now.
Yep.
So,
this is probably good because it's hard to have like a big celebration for a company that has a few issues.
yeah, a few is being nice. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't make sense. BlizzCon is supposed to be like a celebration. It's supposed to be like looking ahead to what's coming, and there's not much to celebrate right now with Blizzard.
Yeah.
I mean,
even if this is a weird thing to say, even if all the harassment stuff didn't happen, it would still be hard to have a BlizzCon because of just how their games have been going.
Well, yeah. Yeah, right. It's sad to hear that Varkush Business will officially lose their name as they become a support studio now.
Yeah.
And, that's what they're going to be. But that is the thing with Blizzard, right? You're like, WoW keeps falling down. You have
Overwatch is perpetually delayed.
Yeah,
Heroes of the Storm is dead. No one cares about Hearthstone.
Yeah, Hearthstone is existing. They keep making expansions for it because they have to. It's like WoW. They have to keep making it live.
Yeah.
And StarCraft is
dead. I mean, it's going, but what are we gonna?
Only in esports, pretty much.
Yeah, they're not gonna make like StarCraft 3, or that'll take. If they ever do, it'll take forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw that they're having, I guess, like a closed beta of Diablo Immortals, and I just started laughing my ass off because I'm like, that thing still hasn't come out.
Supposedly, people that play it, that it's good.
Yeah.
Like
that thing will go the way. I don't know. It's not newsworthy, but like that Dr. Mario online game, or Dr. Mario World, I think it was some like mobile version of Dr. Mario that like wasn't released in America. They released it in a few like countries, and they're already shutting it down because it didn't make money. And it's like, yep, that's gonna be Diablo Immortal.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. I don't want to just say it's gonna be dead before it is, but
that was announced. That was announced 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell is the problem? Then I didn't think it looked good then, really. I mean, it looked kind of finished though, but it's like, what's going on?
I mean, with all the stuff been going on, it's not really. That's probably been delayed a bit, and all of that, and of course, Diablo 2 Resurrected came out, so maybe they wanted to get that out the door before they keep pushing Immortal or Immortals. So who knows? But
Yeah.
I feel like they're kind of banking on this should make us some money when it comes out. So that's what our goal is. We're striving for that because we know it's going to make us money.
Yep.
But hey, you know who also has a lot of money, Mark? Bobby Kotick. So he's saying, mind you, this is a guy that has like how many bazillions of dollars already, right? The Activision Blizzard CEO.
Yeah.
He's saying that until all this stuff is done and dusted and figured out and changed at Activision Blizzard, he's going to be reducing his total compensation to the minimum amount of $62,000, $60,500. Hey, you know what? That's still a lot more than a lot of people make. So
And
you're not like going poor here.
And most people don't have $600 million in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. You making $62,500 a year is not a big deal, bro. You're still making a salary. Not saying you should be like, I mean, I'm sure that there will be many that say he should be fired because it happened under his watch, and he's like the biggest, face for a lot of things, Activision. But again, it's more of a Blizzard thing, not necessarily Activision. But either way, him doing this is really a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
I don't think it says much about him. And the people that are going around being like, "Oh my God, what a great move! Oh, how awesome that you don't see that." Come on, why does there have to be anybody defending a CEO for God's sake? Just stop it.
Yeah.
Just stop it, people. The dude's not going to go around giving you $1 million because you went and defended him on Twitter. Shut up.
It only works when you defend him on Reddit.
Apparently, that's the thing. It only works when you're getting defended on Reddit. So, oh my God, what are you watching here? I can't even go back and I'm gonna take that out. But well, my bad. This is what I get for putting up videos and then going to read something and then coming back and taking it off. But yeah. Anyway, this is it's not this big thing that I think a lot of people are making it out to be. Again, you're still making a lot of money more compared to what I think the median is somewhere in like the 35, like maybe 40,000 range.
Well, it depends on the job, but yeah.
Well, I'm talking about it, I guess, in general for the country.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, like, it's still not anything to be like, let's really be hyped about this or whatever. Let's really say a lot about it.
It's just like a few weeks ago when they announced that like $1.9 million fund or whatever for abuse victims or whatever, and it's like that's nothing,
Yeah, there should be a lot more in that, for sure. But that's the way that works. It's always like hey, we're doing something over here, but we're really not.
Yeah.
But hey, pay attention to us. So really quick going through this because we're starting to get to where we're like running out of time, and I know Mark still wants to talk about Doctor Who here. So Sony has officially renamed their label for the PC ports to PlayStation PC. That's cool. That's really telling you that they're officially really working on this and making it a thing. So there you have that. And that state of play did happen. So running through some of this here, there's a new Let It Die.
Yet another thing we don't need.
Yeah. was it called Deathverse?
Yeah.
Let It Die. So if for some reason you were a big fan of Let It Die, which I love Suda, I didn't really play this. It's not my kind of thing.
Yeah. Me either.
Well, it has roguelike stuff in it, so I figured you would. But it
I
is
think
free to play.
I think the first Let It Die was like a arena shooter, wasn't it? Or
No, it was a free to play roguelike.
Ugh.
But yeah, so after that I will say I loved anytime we saw We Are OFK during the indie stuff at E3. So I was happy to see that here. This is a music biopic episodic game. It's actually talking about a real band and how they brought their album to life and everything. So that's going to come out in 2022. Sad that it's not coming out this year, but glad that it's coming out. Bugsnax is getting free DLC coming out next year. So if you like Bugsnax, you get more of that. And looks like you'll be able to decorate your home for
and the Bugsnax wear hats.
that too. The Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach got shown. Hey,
nope.
If you like your Five Nights at Freddy's, go for it. That's coming out at the end of the year. Well, at December 16th. By then, I'm not waiting for Game of the Year for that thing. One thing that will be on the Game of the Year talk is Death's Door, and that's coming to PS4 and PS5. So maybe Marc will now get to play it and enjoy what's awesome about Death's Door.
Yeah,
I guess you could play it on PC.
Yeah.
But there's also apparently that Kart Rider Drift that's coming out. It kind of looks like Mod Nation Racers. Yeah. And there's a beta on December 8th.
It'll be as popular as Mod Nation Racers too.
That First Class Trouble game got some time as well during this that we talked about earlier. So there's that. And the cool thing for me during this was the fact that out of nowhere, Square Enix was the second to last thing pops up, and it's a Star Ocean game. It's been a while since we heard about Star Ocean. Thankfully, and this is not just going to be a PS4, PS5 game. It's also going to be a Series and Xbox One and PC game. It's called The Divine Force, which way better than that last subtitle with like timeless faith, integrity, hope, whatever. God,
in faithlessness.
Yeah, faithless. It's oh my god, they tried too hard. I remember it not being a very good game, so hopefully this is because I enjoyed Star Ocean. So yes. And then the last game that was shown was Little Devil Inside, which has been a while since we heard anything about this game. This is one of the games they showed off during the original PlayStation 5 showcase. Yeah, there's some really crazy stuff happening in here. There's a lot of different gameplay and art styles here. I mean, what did you think?
That game looked pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
I'm kind of curious about the story or what they're going to do for that.
Yeah, what that's going to be for sure.
I don't know. I'm more interested. I actually thought it looked kind of janky, but I'm kind of interested in that Star Ocean game. But it kind of looked like Sci-Fi East 9.
Yeah, I could see that.
Especially the way you're like traversing around the city, like flying around the city, essentially.
I mean, I don't like just the fact that we got an East 9 on a Sony thing. It's cool.
You mean Star Ocean?
Well, sorry. Like the fact that like Triace got to show up on there.
I actually thought initially that was going to be a sequel to Infinite Undiscovery.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I was hoping for like the Valkyrie profile thing or whatever. But that's
Another
probably
Resonance
never
of
gonna
Fate.
happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still cool that we got Star Ocean here. I mean, and also like it looks like there's some Xenoblade in here with the way they move around and stuff like that. So it seems like there's a lot more like free roaming here and the flying stuff that he does.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, still a lot of early days here. They're just not showing it. It's supposed to come out sometime next year, like everything right now. So
I actually really doubt it'll be next year, but
I mean, they did say that, but yeah, like you said, it's very likely it could be bumped to 2023. But we'll see. It doesn't look like it's really graphical intensive. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot the guy's name, and I'm too lazy to look it up. But I guess Atlas composer left, or
Yeah.
He's gonna go freelance.
I
But
would not blame him.
He's still gonna work with Atlas. But he just won't be locked down to it.
Yeah, make you some money, man. Go
Yeah.
do that. Go do your thing there.
I imagine it's like he probably can't work in any other games, or
Right.
he can't work for another company if So, yeah, good for him. As long as he keeps doing Persona stuff, I'm happy.
Yes, you definitely need to do that, man.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted to talk about some Doctor Who. I haven't watched it.
So. Yeah, I was gonna say I assume you haven't watched it, but it's interesting. I mean, you haven't seen any of the new stuff much, have you?
Yeah, I still have to catch up a lot on that. I've watched a few episodes of the Jodie Whittaker.
I still don't like. I don't want to say her, because I mean the actress is fine. I don't mind Jodie Whittaker, but just her taking the character is bad, or she still seems like so scatterbrained and also kind of arrogant. That some of the other doctors had that, but
yeah, as I was gonna say, a lot of the doctors have had that before.
But it just seems more pronounced in this one. And I like the new guy they have, John Bishop. He's actually pretty interesting, or he's a interesting character because he's kind of like a poor guy in the show.
Right.
But yeah, this is basically a 6-part story, and they introduced in this first episode they introduced 8 different plot lines going on at once. It is nuts.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But they do have a whole season to go through there. So 5
more episodes and that's it.
Yeah. It's all centered around this thing, right?
Yeah, it's a serialized story.
Yeah. Called Doctor Who Flux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some evil destroying wave called the Flux going through the universe.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's cool. At least I think that might be a better way to do this for him. Is you don't go too crazy far out there. It should be more centered stories. So,
yeah,
and hopefully it does wind up working out. At least in that way.
The reviews are decently positive, but it's always the problem with him. It also is the last 2 seasons. The first episode was pretty decent, and then it took a dramatic tumble on episode 2. Yeah, and
then that's hopefully he doesn't continue that trend.
Yeah,
at least.
Funny because he did. I don't know if you saw it. I think he did this. Oh no, he didn't. Forget it. He did a lot of early Torchwood. Did you ever see that show much?
I saw a few episodes of that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was episodic also, and then he didn't do this, but they got serialized the last 2 seasons. One of them was great, and one of them was awful. But yeah, At least the pain, if it is bad, the pain will be much shorter this time around.
Well, yes, exactly. You only got to deal with the 6 episodes instead of the normal 13 or 12.
Yeah.
Well, that will be it for the show this week. Looking ahead to what is coming out here, we
All day.
mentioned we mentioned that pretty much it's going to be Forza Horizon central there, along with Football Manager 2022. And that Jurassic World Evolution 2 is creeping up on us that same day. By the way,
That'll be the big one.
you liked the first one, right?
No,
Yeah.
I like the idea of the first one, but
Okay.
it had this like bizarre mission structure that got in the way of the game.
So you would not want to review the second one?
Well, if they fix that, maybe. I'm also, I've realized something about myself. I'm terrible at city building games or management sims.
But you end up like you always want to play Civ, and
that's not really city building.
Okay.
Or like that's like management on like a macro scale. Like I can't handle like Sim City or.
Okay, fair enough. Right.
Yeah. Especially if it's just like I don't mind like mission oriented stuff.
Right.
Because I think Planet Coaster has like missions in it, and it's like here's a very small part of a park. Deal with it, and that was fine. But if it's like, oh, I just have a big open area and infinite money, I basically just lose interest, or I make some bizarre, awful park that no one wants.
Yeah. Well, at least you're honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also the Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster comes out. They're almost at the end, almost to number 6, the one that everybody wants. And then those Grand Theft Auto games, will be out by the time. Well, not by the time we do the show next week. Just they'll be out. But yeah,
we didn't talk about it, but yeah, San Andreas is headed to the Quest 2.
Yeah, well that's cool that they're doing that, putting it on.
Yeah.
There.
I also saw. Well, you know how Resident Evil 4 hit the Quest 2?
Yes, I did see that. Yes, I heard people talking about it.
Yeah, apparently it can run in the Quest 1 also.
I mean, it should.
I mean, it doesn't look as good. Like this, it doesn't run as good, but it can run. Yeah. So it's just planned obsolescence with the Quest 1, you know.
Fair enough. I like the thing that surprised me here is Bright Memory Infinite, which is one of that also comes out the same day, along with Shin Megami Tensei 5 and the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
That game was one of the big ones that they showcased at the Xbox show, and there's no talk at all about when the Xbox version's coming, just the PC. Like, I got a code offer, and I was like, no, because I did not like the way the game ran on my PC, so hell no, I'm not even going to bother with the souped-up version of this game.
Right.
I'll wait till whenever it shows up on console. But, yeah, just surprising to me that this is one of the games that's supposed to show off the series up. So then I guess that got delayed, and they're not even telling anybody. Also, that Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim like Anniversary Edition for PS5 and Xbox Series comes out that day as well.
Yeah.
But
also Bright Memory is $10 on, at least on Steam.
Well, is that the Infinite Bright Memory?
Oh.
Is the demo thing that they made into a sort of
game?
like Chapter 1 game. It's not. Oh, it's a game that lasts like 45 minutes. That's why it costs $10.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but
yeah. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, Bright Memory Infinite is supposed to be a more fully fleshed out game. You know, so yes, and it does not look great on Series X or whatever that game. It's just they just made the graphics better.
Yeah,
which doesn't say much, but yeah. But yeah, I'll be checking out Toonshay and Unpacking. Hopefully, we'll have something to say about either one of those games there next week. And yeah, and until next week, everybody, hopefully you enjoyed the show. You're listening. You're subscribed on whether you watch on YouTube or watch on Twitch or listen on any of the podcast places that we are available, which is pretty much everywhere. Hopefully you'll go and subscribe and like and give us those 5 stars. And well, until then, until
Later.
next week.
Yep.
Later, everybody. Bye.